There are some works of fiction out there that everyone is familiar with. Some movies, television shows, and even games have become so ingrained in our pop culture that it's nearly impossible for someone to be unaware of them. Star Wars, Star Trek, Super Mario, and Harry Potter are just a few examples. However, Disney seems to have been a pioneer of iconic films, as almost everyone has heard of or seen their numerous animated works. Personally, my favorite Disney film has always been The Lion King. It doesn't stop there though. I'll even go so far as to say that The Lion King is my favorite film, period. I'm well aware that we live in a very cynical age, where it's a popular response to say that something is overrated, but I honestly have nothing but good things to say about this movie. The story, loosely based on William Shakespeare's Hamlet, revolves around the pride of lions who rule the African savanna known as the Pride Lands. Making their home inside the majestic Pride Rock, the lions are led by their king, Mufasa. One day, a new young prince named Simba is born to thunderous adoration from all manner of African animals. However, not everyone is happy with this development, as Mufasa's brother Scar was next in line for the throne until his newborn nephew came around. Forming an alliance with the scavenging hyenas, Scar executes a plot to murder both Mufasa and Simba, thus securing his place as king. Simba survives, and, thinking that his father's death was his fault, goes into exile. Although initially embracing the carefree lifestyle of his newfound friends Timon the meerkat and Pumbaa the warthog, Simba must eventually come to terms with his responsibility and take his rightful place on the throne in order to end Scar's reign of terror. This film has to have one of the best casts of any Disney movie, and oddly enough, every single one of the actors here feels right for the character and not just like some celebrity. Matthew Broderick lends his uniquely likable charm to the adult version of Simba, having sort of an everyman vocal quality that makes this otherwise royal figure more down to earth. Jonathan Taylor Thomas voices Simba as a young cub, and he's appealing in a lot of the same ways. He feels like an actual kid, having an appropriate amount of naivete and energy. You can tell he is obviously self-confident, but almost all children are. The fact that they were able to convey that while still making him a likable character is very impressive and is a credit not just to the writers, but to the acting as well. James Earl Jones as Mufasa obviously has no problem with the more authoritative side to the character, but he also injects a more playful side that makes him extremely appealing as a father figure. Once he finally gets killed off, we feel like we've known the character for just as long as Simba has, and a lot of that can be attributed to Jones's distinctive charm. Jeremy Irons as Scar just makes for a fantastic villain. For a character like this, they really needed an actor who could pull off both the dry deliveries of the grumpy uncle and the sinister scheming side of the maniacal despot. Irons plays both of these with ease, always making even the most evil actions oddly suave. The supporting cast is also made up of stars. Moira Kelly voices Simba's childhood friend Nala as an adult. Her sheer determination and sense of responsibility miraculously never drift into the realm of blandness, and Kelly's performance makes for a pretty strong female character who is never shoved in our face like many are today. Nathan Lane and Ernie Sabella play Timon and Pumbaa respectively. At first glance, they seem like standard comic relief characters, but they function well as Simba's friends, and make for some likably loyal sidekicks. The way in which they play off of each other is pretty funny, with many of the corny jokes being delivered with such gusto that I couldn't help but chuckle. Rowan Atkinson brings a fair amount of manic and over-the-top regality to Zazu the Hornbill, pulling off some of the same charm that John Cleese would typically exude on something like Fawlty Towers. As the main trio of hyenas, Shenzi, Banzai, and Ed, we have Whoopi Goldberg, Cheech Marin, and veteran voice actor Jim Cummings. They have a lot of the same charm as Timon and Pumbaa, never becoming annoying and always reveling in a delightfully cheesy food joke. Even the minor players like Robert Guillaume as Rafiki the Mandrill and Madge Sinclair as Simba's mother Sarabi managed to leave an impact, with Guillaume being a lot of fun in his kooky wisdom and Sinclair acting as the warm motherly figure. Despite the cast being full of celebrities, they fit the characters, due in large part to the design choices by the animators. For example, Simba has big and soulful Matthew Broderick eyes, Shenzi has Whoopi Goldberg hair, and Zazu has Rowan Atkinson's bug-eyed expressions. The songs are done by Tim Rice and Elton John, and all of them are catchy and pleasing to the ear. Circle of Life slowly builds from calm and peaceful to loud and majestic, beautifully setting the stage for the rest of the film. Be Prepared is suitably sinister, while also darkly funny at certain spots. Hakuna Matata is a charming little song that lifts the spirits and makes one yearn for life without worry. Can You Feel the Love Tonight, though not my favorite despite winning Best Original Song, functions well as a tranquil love story in itself. Probably the one that fares the least well is I Just Can't Wait to Be King. It's by no means bad, just not as strong as the others in its juvenility. However, it's a great deal more entertaining than The Morning Report, which we don't need to talk about. Speaking of music, the main score is done by Hans Zimmer, and it is just magnificent. Many of the cues are almost heavenly in quality, and all of them do a fantastic job of conveying the powerfully emotional story. One of the most significant reasons why I love this film as much as I do is because it helps shape my taste in movies. I nearly always prefer sweeping epics, and I think a lot of that has to do with my exposure to this film at a very young age. The fact that the filmmakers were able to beautifully animate the whole movie while making everything in it feel grand in scope is immensely impressive given the runtime of less than 90 minutes. Another thing, the animation and the backgrounds are just strikingly gorgeous. The acting is stellar and dynamic, the songs are well written, the music is wonderful, the animation is flawlessly fluid, and the story is powerfully potent with a great message about accepting responsibility and helping those in need. It's The Lion King. What else can one say about it?